Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, it's been a while since I've made a rant video, or really, it's been a couple days since I've made a knife video. But what prompted me to do this was, I guess, the controversy that's spinning around from Canadian Cutting Edge. And I'd just like to say, check out Knife Delights video response to that. That's an excellent way of doing that. It's sarcasm, and if you don't know about what's going on, Canadian Cutting Edge apparently tagged a bunch of people in a video where he labeled our knife reviewers incompetent, lazy, or or just basically like scamming people because they're not checking the most important thing he thought was important in a knife, which was the edge grind. If you look at any knife, pretty much any knife, this bevel, the angle, and this bevel angle are not going to be even from the factory. Especially on budget knives. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's just something that you understand that, yeah, they could probably make them. They could probably make them even if they spent more time and money on them, but they wouldn't be a budget knife. It's kind of one of those things you put up with. Yeah, it'll cut, but the apex is not even. It's another one of those things where we've gotten a big fight in the community over before, is somebody thinks that heat treat is the most important thing on a knife. And then there's this big war where everybody gets on one side and on the other. Yeah, heat treat is important on a knife. It's not the be-all and end-all of a knife. Just like edge geometry. It's good to have a perfect apex up here, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 25, 25, whatever. Not 20 and 35. But guess what? You're going to run into that all the time. You know how you fix that? Sharpening. If you know how to sharpen, none of this will be a problem. But Canadian Cutting Edge decided to call out people. Now, first off, that's wrong, to tag people and call them out and everything without trying to contact the person first, You're using the court of public opinion, a public forum, to wage your cause. You're not trying to use logic. You're trying to gang up and get a bunch of people, on your side. Oh, I think he's right. Yeah, I think he's right. I think he's right, And these other people say, he may be right, but he went about it wrong. So it's just division. We don't need that. Of all the things that we don't need in this world right now is more division. It's called passive aggressive, when you sit there and you're saying one thing but you mean another. You're kind of hinting at stuff, but you can always fall back on, oh, I didn't say that. And it's just not the way we should be doing things. So you know what, rather than leave a nasty comment on anything, I used to be subscribed to that guy. I'm no longer subscribed to him. I used to watch his videos. You know what? I'm not going to watch any of his videos now because I'm not going to give him thumbs down. I'm not going to watch any of his videos. I vote that way. That's the way I'm going to vote. You want to get a bunch of views by stirring up controversy and everything. Yeah, that's really good. That's not what I'm looking for in a knife channel. I understand that the apex and the angle of a knife is important. It's just one of many things. If you're going to look at a knife review channel, especially one that's a small channel, it's not sponsored by anybody and stuff like that, and is doing this all on their own, and you try to apply your criticisms to them, you're full of crap. You run your channel the way you want to. If you are known as the behind the edge geometry guy, then people will come to you if they want to find out, if you're reviewing that knife. Ooh, what's the diameter behind this? You know that diameter is only going to matter until after you sharpen it the first time. And then you're going to set your own angle. And you're going to remove some steel. And then behind the edge is going to be different. And if it's a hollow grind, it may be smaller than what you measured initially. So it's all in. When I look at knife channels, what I'm trying to find out is, let's say I was interested in this knife, but I haven't bought it yet. I'm going to look at a lot of YouTube videos on this particular knife. I'm going to look at it, and I'm not going to take one knife channel thing over all the other ones, you know? That's another thing. When this guy comes out and he's trying to say he's uniter and all this other stuff when he's actually dividing, who died and made you God of the knife world? Really, tell me. You've got a lot of viewers and everything, fine. You know, like I said, I used to watch your channel and everything because you would go over budget knives and stuff, but I'm not going to watch your channel anymore just because the tactics you're using are not something we should encourage. We shouldn't encourage a big fight among fellow content creators, you know, and say, well, I don't like this guy because he has a beard and I don't like people with beards, you know, and it's like, what a petty reason, you know. And as far as calling people incompetent and lazy, I don't know what you expect out of a knife review that somebody that likes knives is doing. What, do you expect a thorough academic research and history of the knife company, the steel, how it's made? We need good graphics. We need, you know, like videos of the knife being manufactured. All that stuff will be good. You try that, doing that on your own. That's a lot of damn work, you know. And as far as on, if people in my channel think that it's important to figure out edge geometries, they'll complain. They'll tell me, or they'll just I won't have the subscribers. That's fine, you know. If it's just there, well, you know, I would have subscribed to you, or I would have watched more of your videos, you know, but not once have I seen you tell me what the exact angle of the edge is when you receive it from the factory. I look at them, but I don't measure them. I'm looking for, I can eyeball it and tell, you know, if they look fairly close, you know. And consistency, I can tell, but I don't have to go down and measure each and every point. It's fine if you want to be that anal, if you want to be that data-driven, you know. I don't need to be that way. And it kind of also forces you to do things that, if you're not really, I'll take up ideas, you know, like if somebody adds, for example, like slideshows at the end, if a lot of people like those things and get those, you know, I'll incorporate those in my video. Sometimes I do them, sometimes I don't. It really depends on the content creator, what they're going to do. And if you think it's lazy, all I'm trying to say is, you try making one of these videos and see how much it goes into it, because what you see is the final result. There's a lot of, you got to sit there and figure out what your bit rate is, how the compression rate of your video. There's a lot of stuff involved in this, you know. How big the file size is going to be, and then all the editing. You know, if you add anything, even like a title, you've got to type that out. You've got to position it. It takes time, you know, to edit a video. And to sit there and criticize somebody because they're incompetent or lazy because they're not focusing on your specific thing, well, you know, I think you've got an ego issue there, you know. I think you've got a little narcissism going on. And after that, you know what that told me? I no longer value his opinion, you know, because I know all he's going to be focused on now is the knife good or not? It's going to depend on the edge geometry of him. It doesn't matter, you know, how well the knife was made or anything else. Boy, this is the most important thing we've got to focus on. So, yeah, I know this is kind of a division one. I'm just saying, I'm not gonna join in on it. The way I'm gonna join in on it is, I'm gonna say I disagree with what he had to say. And I think he went about it wrong, and the way I vote with it is he's no longer a subscriber of mine. I don't think he ever subscribed to me. I'm no longer subscribed to him. And I know that doesn't make much difference to him. He's got way more viewers than me and everything else, but it's a matter of principle, you know? It's all in how we conduct ourselves with one another. If we treat each other right, then that's all right. But if I sit here and I put on this video that I found out that the biggest thing that I'm focused on is not edge angle, but behind the edge geometry. And so I'm going to look at all my buddies, all the people that you know, that do videos and stuff, and if they don't have behind the edge geometry, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to send them an email and talk to them or anything. I'm going to make a video where I say that the following people, you know, a bunch of these channels are just incompetent and lazy. What would that get me? Well, it'd get me a lot of views. And if you're after a lot of views, then, you know, that's the way to do it. Sirens and blood make headlines on news, whereas the good things, they usually don't get covered as much. So I know this is a short rant, but I'm just saying my response to that is this is the way I'm responding to it. I'm not going to watch the guy. I'm not going to listen to him, you know, which is a shame. He's covered some good knives and stuff before, but I'd be encouraging him if I watched him. And I'm not going to thumbs down him. I'm not going to start a campaign or anything. I personally, this is what I'm going to do. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. You know, you could campaign for him to be the next Prime Minister of Canada or whatever. Fine. I don't care. I'm just telling you what I'm personally going to do. And that is, if somebody demonstrates behavior like that, also like the same reason why I unsubscribe to people that attack other people. You know, it's just like, come on. You should be able to handle this as adults on private channels between one another. And if you put it out here to the community, well, then you've opened yourself to criticism and a response. And I think I haven't watched his response video, like I said. I just have to follow up. I just watch what Knife Delights and all those other people have said about it. And it's just, no, I'm not going to grace him with any views or subscriptions or any more of that. He can go, the knife world is huge. There are a bunch of different people that think different things are important. I try to extract what I can. I try to extract the best stuff I can out of other channels. And if you want to call that copy, and then go ahead, but it's like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, is what they say. I'm not outright lifting people's stuff, but you know, we are influenced. Video knife making channels are influenced by the videos they watch on other knife channels too. And I saw one time a while back where somebody was doing, I think it was like sack knives or something, you know. They just started showing different sack knives. And somebody else that I know, that I'm subscribed to, also started doing them. And the person that started it said, "You're just copying me. Why did you do that? I started this first." What does it matter? I mean, you know, that's almost like an open tag. You know, if somebody does something and they don't say it, you know, somebody puts up a bunch of sunfishes and everything, even though they didn't tag you or everything, if you put your collection of sunfishes up, you're not detracting from them or anything. You can even link your video to their video if you want to help them out, you know, and just say, look, if you want to see another good collection of sunfishes, go to this channel over here. And this person right here, this is one that inspired me to do this video. That's the way to do it, I think. You know, but like I said, if you disagree with me, the way you can vote for it is by unsubscribing, you know. I try not to cause any division, but if you feel like I'm not covering something specific, I would recommend you just put it down in the channel, because a lot of times I'm so excited to get the knife I might forget something that you can find on any website, you know, which is like the length or the weight or something. I'm trying to give you the impression as if you got this knife, what would you feel? It's like, wow, man, this particular knife right here, this brother knife, is batting way above its league. I mean, just look at some of the knives that are priced way up there, and then look at this knife, and then use them. and start cutting with them and see if you can tell a difference between this knife and knives costing hundreds of dollars more. Let's just put it that way. And that's just one of them. Same way. Here's another one. All right? It doesn't matter what you like. All right? It doesn't matter if you are into, you think this is the best thing in the world. It doesn't matter if you think a $300 version of this is the best thing in the world. It's as long as you like it. But if you sit there and start belittling people for having a difference of opinion, like people especially say, oh, I can't afford that, that's too much, I would go with this. You can sit there because you've invested $300 into it or whatever and say, oh no, you need to handle one, to be able to tell the difference. Tell that to somebody that can't afford a $300 knife. That's just kind of like saying, you know what? You just don't know what a Lamborghini is like until you've gotten and driven one. Yeah, I'll probably never know what one is like then, because I would be afraid of bumping the curb with the wheel, and it cost me more than I make in a year. So it's an individual thing, a knife channel. And what you get out of each knife channel is also, it's a smorgasbord you've got out there. If you only like fixed blades, there are plenty of them that only do fixed blades. If you think that a knife review is not a knife review unless they're cutting something or chopping something, there's plenty of channels where they do that, and they do that only, You can find what you like out of there. But that doesn't mean that I've got the right to dictate to other channels what they need to do or the way they need to run their channel. I don't have that right. And they've got the right to tell me to go piss off, because it's fine to have an opinion. It's fine to have what you think is an idea. Okay, I think heat treat is important or whatever. Well, you can get some files and you can heat treat every one of your blades. And then you can go out and start using them. You can find out that, heat treat isn't the end-all and be-all of things. Sometimes a softer heat treat is actually advantageous on a knife than a really super hard, brittle one. Wow! Well, how did we figure that out? By using a knife. Also, it doesn't matter if the knife is the cheapest piece of junk you can find in the world or whatever. If somebody's happy with it, if somebody gets a joy out of that, it is not your right to sit there and destroy their happiness. Why? Why do that? Well, that's a piece of crap knife. His grandpa gave it to him. These cracks in here, there's a story behind all of this stuff. Not in this case, but I'm just saying, as if somebody, was really into this knife and was showing it, and in the comments, somebody gets out there and says, yeah, but you never measured the edge geometry behind it. It's a worthless knife. So, yeah, whatever you find important, do that on your channel. That's why you've got a channel. If you think that's important, then you do that. You don't have the right to sit there and tag other people, other channels, especially ones that have got low subscriber counts, because they probably got a low fan base or whatever, to throw back at you and to challenge you. It's stupid. It sucks. And I'm not going to encourage that. So like I said, the way to solve this for me is the way I'm going to do it. I unsubscribed from them. I used to have it subscribed and with a bell on. Guess what? No longer. Just because I'm not going to encourage that type of behavior, You screwed up. So I hope you enjoy your extra views, and you'll probably get new extra subscribers, but you're not getting mine. And for the people that like Knife Delights and everything, don't worry, brother, man. Don't worry. We're not the idiots. Only the idiots would choose that guy over your channel. The same way with any of the other channels he attacked. Go ahead. If you wanna support that guy, fine. Like I said, I don't care. I don't sit there and go through all the analytics and look at what my subscribers like, what other channels they've watched. Because you could tailor a lot of this stuff and say, "Ooh, I need to be more like that guy." No. Oh, you can get bogged down with statistics and analytics and stuff. The main thing is, Do people like your videos? Are they getting anything out of it? If they are, then you'll get more subscribers. If they're not, then your channel won't do well. Just look at the length of time your channel's been there and the amount of subscribers you got, and that'll give you kind of an idea whether or not people like your content. It's not everything to do with it, but, you know, starting off channels, young channels, knife channels, we really should encourage them if you want variety. If you want everybody to sound exactly the same, then yeah, only support the big channels. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the big channels. I'm just saying you're not going to get the variety you would get with smaller channels. You're not going to get the point of view you would get with smaller channels. You're not going to be able to get the interaction between the content creator and commenters. It's simply because of the fact of numbers. They're still pulled up comments from a year ago. Jerome, I had pulled up a comment from a year ago from Jerome that I didn't answer. And I have looked for comments. I've searched for comments on multiple platforms. YouTube Studio, online, the app, all kinds of stuff. And every time I look, it says, you're all caught up. There's nothing that you haven't responded to. And then a year later, boom. Whoa. So if I don't respond to your comment, it's not like I'm not trying to. And it may take me a while. It used to be I could get to them right away. Now sometimes I'm responding to comments that are like a month ago. Some of it I think might be YouTube hiding it from it, and some of it I just can't keep up with it after a while. But I'll try as long as I can, you know. I'm going to try to, because that's what to me, that's what makes a channel. It's not what kind of controversy you stir up. It's what kind of interaction you have with the people that watch your channel, you know. If it's all positive and they learn things and you learn things, my commenters corrected me many a time on stuff and educated me on stuff. So I'm not Mr. Guru, you know. I don't sit here and tell you that, you know, the most important thing is blade steel. That's the most important thing. As long as you focus on that, it doesn't matter what the knife looks like or the edge geometry or any of that other stuff, because blade steel is the be-all and end-all. All right, I'm confused, you know, but some people might agree with that. I mean, a lot of, you know, the buying habits are the people, the first thing they look at is the blade steel, and if it's under whatever they think is their cutoff level, they won't buy it. Now, some of that is good, you know. I'm not saying it's bad. You've dealt with, you know, like 5CR or 3CR, and you found out that it's not good on a knife, but it might be all right in a hatchet, you know, or something else. 5CR I find is all right also. Really, any steel. I grew up, like I said, from old school, so any steel is fine. There's some that are soft. You know what they are, and you know their limitations, and you don't go for them then. But 440A, 440C, all those ones, perfectly fine with me. If you get up beyond the super steels, those are also perfectly fine with me. I like things. I don't like to exclude things. Anyway, I'm just rambling on, but I just wanted to say, if people think that I'm wrong with what I'm doing, then I won't have any subscribers. And I don't need to have some other channel sit there and dictate to everybody what we need to be doing for knife reviews. I think my viewers have more sway on what needs to be done with knife reviews than anybody from Canada who thinks that the cutting edge is the most important thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah, that is what it comes down to a lot of times, is will your knife cut? But there's a lot of things involved with it. The steel, the edge geometry, the grind, behind the edge thickness. Oh, man. Heat treat. Just to name a few. And to say that any one is the most important thing is to be misguided and to be misdirected. Yeah, you'd like to have a perfect apex on the knife, but I guess what? You take a knife with an uneven apex and it's evenly sharp, you know, like 25 degrees on one side and 30 on the other, but it still meets at a point somewhere, it's going to cut. It's going to cut paper. It's going to cut meat. It's going to cut. The problem is when you go to resharpen it, one side's going to take a little bit more sharpening than the other. But once you straighten that edge out, you don't have that problem anymore. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough. This is going to take forever to upload. But yeah, I use this example right here, this situation right here, as a learning experience. What I would like to learn is on my knife reviews, if there's anything that you think is more important, and you're like, you want to see it weighed. I know that a lot of times the weights on sites are wrong. You know, like especially Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Sometimes they'll list knife weights that are way off. So a lot of times I like to verify those. But other things like the length of the blade, they usually get that fairly straight. But I'll go through all those. I'm more am trying to give you my initial impression of a knife. And then if I've been using it for a while, if I do a revisit on it and everything, I'll tell you what I think, you know, are the pros and cons of it. But most of the time, it's just an initial impression on a knife that I get, if it's a new one. Anyway, there you go. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.